Welcome to us.
This is going to be my last video about Osu before I move on to a different topic. I'm making this video for a number of reasons. Number one, I know quite a few people somewhat interested in Osu, and I want to get them started on the right track. Two, a lot of people don't realize that Osu is both a rhythm game and an aim game. I'll explain more about what I mean by that later. Starting off, I just want to preface this video with this disclaimer. Osu is a hard game. It has a hard learning curve for beginners, probably the hardest learning curve I've ever had to deal with in a video game. However, the more time you invest in this game, the better you'll get. No matter how much you want to quit because you're not improving as fast as you thought you would, that doesn't mean you won't improve. Download some of your favorite songs on the game, try out some new music, and enjoy the game until you start to get better. The first, and pretty much the most important, part of the game is the gameplay itself. There are three different kinds of objects in this game: circles, sliders, and spinners. Circles just require you to click on it. Sliders require you to hold the clicking button for the duration of the slider length while following the slider ball with your cursor at the same time. There's a second kind of slider, a repetitive slider. When you see the reverse arrow, your cursor ball will turn around. Follow the returning slider ball with your cursor. On top of that, you have a spinner. To spin, hold down a button and spin with your cursor as fast as possible around the middle of the spinner. I recommend doing smaller rotations around the middle because it doesn't matter how largely your cursor rotates. The only thing that matters is that you spin around the small circle in the middle. To click each of these, you either press one of your mouse buttons or Z and X. The reason why you're given two keybinds to click circles with is so that you can switch between them to tap circles faster. This strategy is called alternating. In order to hit these objects correctly though, you need to follow the reference of the approach circle. It's a thin circle that encloses around the head of the circle and of the slider, and when the approach circle touches the circle or slider head, you should click. The better you get at the game though, the more you can disregard the approach circle, as you should become more accustomed to clicking the circles to the beat of songs, as opposed to clicking to when the approach circle hits the circle. To practice, try tapping with your hand or something, along with the gameplay on the screen.
Hit the next 4 hit circles.
If you don't click these circles at the correct time, your accuracy will go down. There are 3 different judgments of accuracy: 50, 100, and 300. If you get a 300, don't worry, you hit the circle at the correct time. If you get a 100, you're slightly early or slightly late clicking the circle. Your accuracy will go down slightly, but it could still go back up. If you get a 50, you hit the circle quite early or quite late, and your accuracy will go down much more, but again, it could still go back up. If you outright miss a circle, your accuracy will go down significantly, and your combo, at the bottom left of your screen, will break. Accuracy determines the grade you'll get on a certain map. C means 60% of all circles were 300s. A B means
80%
of all circles hit were 300s. A means
90%
of the circles hit were 300. S means 90% of all circles hit were 300s. No misses. And less than 1% of all circles hit were 50s. And an SS means you lost no accuracy during the play. I know that sounds pretty confusing, so to give ballpark estimates, A and S's are normally between 92.5 to 100% accuracy, B is around 85 to 92.5% accuracy, C's are around 77.5 to 85% accuracy, and D is anything below that. However, those numbers don't always give those ranks. Combo is acquired by clicking circles in a row. The higher combo you get, the higher your score will go up. Your score is at the top right of your screen, and that will determine your place on map leaderboards. That's pretty much its only purpose. Players see how well they're doing against other players using PP, or performance points, not score. But I'll talk about that more later. There are 2 different ways to break combo: by missing or by slider breaking. A slider breaking means that you hit a circle body, but you missed the head of the circle, but you're still able to click and drag the circle ball to the end of the circle. That will award you with an S, but it'll break your combo if you don't miss any other times. The health bar stays full if you don't miss. It goes down when you miss. Pretty self-explanatory. I think you get the gist of the game at this point. Some things to keep in mind is to click circles to the beat of songs, not necessarily just to when the approach circle closes around the regular circle. Although it is okay to judge when to click the circle using the approach circle when you just start out, and to keep your spinner rotations small and quick. If you find the game is either getting too boring or too hard for you, don't worry. There are things called mods. Mods increase the score you get on maps based on a scores multiplier. It goes up when you use mods that increase the difficulty of maps, and it goes down when you use mods that decrease the difficulty of maps. I'm going to quickly recap every mod for you now. Easy mod makes the circles bigger, decreases the approach rate, or the speed at which the approach circle closes around the circle, and it allows you to lose your HP 3 times before you fail for real. Half time slows the song down by 1.5 times, and no fail makes it so that it's impossible for you to fail a map. Hard rock makes the circles smaller, increases the approach rate of maps, and makes it so that your HP bar goes down quicker than before. It's pretty much the opposite of the easy mod. Sudden death and perfect make it so that you either instantly fail a map if you miss, for sudden death, or if you lose even a tiny bit of accuracy, for the perfect mod. It's the opposite of the no fail mod. Double time and nightcore increase the speed of the map by 1.5 times, making it the opposite of the halftime mod. Hidden makes it so that the circles fade out before you're supposed to click them, and it removes the approach circles, meaning you have to rely on listening to the beats of songs to know when to click the circle. Flashlight makes it so that your visibility area is limited to around your cursor, and everything else is covered in a veil of black light. It's arguably the hardest and least effective mod. As well as that, there are also special mods. Some mods make the score you set not worth anything, and do not allow for the score to be posted on leaderboards, like autopilot, making the cursor automated and meaning you only have to click your mouse buttons, relax, making the mouse button clicking automated, meaning you only have to aim to the circles, and auto, which goes through a 100% perfect run of the map you're trying to play. And then spun out makes it so that spinners spin automatically for you. However, it reduces your score significantly. I recommend never even touching spun out. So that's how you play. Now, how do you get up in the performance leaderboards? Well, to those who are unaware, the performance leaderboards judge how good you are based on an algorithm. Each and every ranked map awards performance points, depending on how good your playthrough of the map was and what mods you used. To simplify things immensely, essentially, every time you play a map, there are judges watching you play. At the end of your play, they judge you based on how sharp you aimed, how smooth/flowy your aim was, how fast you clicked, and how much stamina you needed to beat that map. The game averages out the score of those 4 judges in order to give you a finalized PP count. Depending on the difficulty of the map, the PP count might be higher or lower. The way your total PP gets calculated is by weighting your top 100 OSU plays. Your number 1 play will be worth 100% of its PP, number 2 will be worth 95, so on and so forth. To simplify this, let's say you only have 3 top plays, all of which being 100 PP. You won't have a total PP count of 300, rather, you'll have a total PP count of 150. Your top play would be worth 100%, your second would be worth 50, and your third would be worth 0%. In order to gauge the difficulty of the map you're playing, you should look at the top left side of your screen in the song selection menu. Here's the speed fire round. Length is how long the OSU map is, BPM stands for beats per minute and it measures how fast a song is, the higher the faster. Objects is how many circles, sliders, and spinners there are combined, and that's also what the numbers below it represent. CS or circle size dictates how big the circles are, the higher the number, the smaller the circles. AR or approach rate dictates how fast the approach circle closes around circles and sliders. OD or overall difficulty dictates the error window you have for hitting 300s. The higher the OD, the harder it is to get 300s and thus the lower your accuracy will be. HP dictates how quickly your HP bar goes down. The higher the number, the faster your HP will go down. And the stars number is how hard your map is. It's also the same amount of stars below the name of the song. Do not judge how hard a map is by the stars below the name. Use the top left corner. But probably the most important thing in the top left corner is that little logo there. It can either be a check mark, 2 blue arrows, a heart, or a question mark. The check mark either means a map is approved, in which case don't worry about it, or it's qualified. When you start up the map, it will say, this map is in a qualified state. The 2 blue arrows mean a map is ranked. The heart means a map is loved, and it will say this map is in a loved state if it is, and the question mark means a map is unranked. If you want to gain PP, the only way to do so is by playing ranked maps. Some important keybinds to remember is that F10 toggles your mouse buttons. I recommend having them disabled, but if you really want to play using your mouse buttons, which isn't recommended, go for it. Another one is Control O, or your options menu. You can change keybinds from this menu, change your skin, and customize your gameplay a lot more. Some things I would suggest turning off is hit lighting, combo breaks, and setting your background dim to 100. As well as that, you should get a custom skin. In terms of skins, it doesn't really matter which one you get. You want a skin that's generally not distracting and that can help you read properly. I would recommend either Yugen or the Raphis skin. Yugen is a better all-round skin, while the Raphis skin is better for when you play with hidden. For some language that top players may use, FC means full combo, or hitting every note in a map. As well as that, slider break, which I've already talked about before. A slider break occurs when you miss the slider head, but you're still able to drag the slider ball to the end of the slider. It doesn't count as a miss, only a 100 or a 50, meaning you'd still be able to get an Fs on the map. However, your combo still breaks. So to summarize, you click circles by pressing either Z or X to the beat of songs. You are now able to tell how hard a map is by looking at the top left corner of your song selection screen, and you now know some new shortcuts to improve your OSU experience. Now it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, money. The thing that makes OSU great is that it's completely free to win, meaning that, in order to come in first place in the world, you really don't have to spend a penny on OSU. The only thing you're able to buy in-game is this thing called OSU Supporter, which doesn't give you any benefits in-game itself. To any of my Minecraft server player watchers out there, it's essentially just an in-game rank. What it allows you to do is you could download songs from inside of the game without having to go to the website. Your name in global chat becomes a different color, and a bunch of different perks I'll show on the screen right now. However, as some of you may know, there are different ways to spend money on the game, such as buying drawing tablets, more expensive mice, mechanical keyboards, and even new gaming monitors. Mice, keyboards, and monitors may be investments into gaming in general and not necessarily for OSU, meaning if you want to upgrade, that's up to you. But I would definitely not recommend buying a tablet if you just started the game. There's no real practical use for it unless you're an artist, in which case you'd probably already have one. Money is valuable. Most of the time, it's not your money but rather your parents' money. It's not a good investment to buy the most expensive tablet, keyboard, and monitor after only a week playing OSU. Most of the time, new players quit after the first week to 3 weeks because they get bored and think that the game is either too hard but yet it looks so easy. So save your money until you absolutely know that it will be well spent. As well as that, you don't even need a good setup in order to play well. Former #1 OSU top player, FG Sky, has a setup that looks a little something like this, and he got the #1 OSU top play for a certain time. Countless other players play on laptops with cheap mice as well, Ekoro being another notable example. What I'm trying to say is that OSU is free to play, and it should be kept that way, at least for a while. I think that's about it for this tutorial. I know it's quite long, but OSU isn't just about clicking circles to the beat. There's a lot more to learn about this game than what meets the eye. If there are any other questions, or if there's anything you think I missed in this video, please leave a comment down below. As well as that, if there's another video suggestion you have, leave that in the comments as well. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you whenever I see you next. Later.